What's up, guys? I got a little story I want y'all to listen to. It's a true story, so I really think that you could take something away from this story because it is a true story, and there's a good moral to the story, and I have a lot of respect for this man who's about to talk. So I'd like to give it up for Mr. Eon.
I'm gonna go this video beyond this song. So this is the Ohio's moment, okay? And they got players. Ladies and gentlemen, let me let you guys know. I gotta give you 4 companies that I've been dealing with lately. One of them that has proved to be more honorable than all of them is Home Depot. There's a Home Depot that's almost 100 miles from where I am. I know it's a 160-mile round trip getting to this Home Depot. Ladies and gentlemen, 160 miles round trip just to get to this Home Depot. It is the nearest Home Depot to my house. The other Home Depot is 180 miles from my house round trip. So I go to this Home Depot because the other Home Depot is in an area where they are the most prejudiced people that I've met in a long time. But the people in the Home Depot have treated me with respect the moment I walked into the store. But this other Home Depot in an area that treated me with respect the moment I walked into their city did not respect my person, but they respected me as a person. They did not look at me cross-eyed or anything else. They said, "Hey, what up, homie? Oh, man, come on over here. We got you. Nah, dude, we ain't like that over here. Come on now. We got you." And they just as nice as they could possibly be. They don't see color of skin. They see a person. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to keep coming to your city because your city is a much better place to be. I feel comfortable here. The police are kind to me. Now, that's for the moment, but they're kind. They respectful. They answer questions, and they go on about their business. So I go to that city because I'm like, you people all right. Now, I don't know about the wranglings and ins and out about the city. I just know they treat me with respect. But I went to this Home Depot, and I go to a particular desk, and I say, hey, I got a project. And they say, you got a project? Well, give us a second. We busy. And they left me waiting for 30 minutes, standing there with my cane in my hand, everything. Didn't care that I was in pain that day. Just 30 minutes, just waiting. So I said, excuse me. Oh, we're busy, sir. We're going to get to you in a second. And I'm still waiting. And they just ignoring me and handling all these other people that came in after me. Whew, I finally had to just get on out of there and leave. So I went back and same routine. Then I go in there to get a couple of little supplies. I mean, little supplies, not a lot of supplies. I got like $10, $15 of supplies. And I go to the self-checkout. The woman said, oh, no, sir, you don't want to go to this line. Go over there, all the way down there. She's going to help you. And the lady heard her. And she was insistent that I not go to the self-checkout where there's nobody waiting in line and go over and let this lady help me. And they got in an argument. And the lady took my product and threw it into my basket. And I said, what the? I didn't say anything. I kept my mouth shut because I had to keep my composure. You're going to take my product and you're going to throw it in my basket? I know she wasn't angry at me. And I know she wasn't angry at my product. I know she was angry at that female, that garden tool that tried to get back at her through me. I understood that it was some hatred going on there. And it got into an argument, and the colored folk, there was one colored folk, I ain't seen him since, working there, and he came in betwixt, and he says, okay, you go back over there and do your job. And he told the lady that was helping me, go ahead and take care of him, and I will take care of her. His exact words. Ever since then, they act like he don't even exist no more. Because I reminded them of that gentleman, how he came in and how he even offered me a discount. I ain't seen him since. And he was the only person of color that was working there that I seen. And everybody's denied that he exists because it's like he was a phantom employee. Well, to make the long story short, my order went so horribly wrong, they sent me wood that you wouldn't even use to put together a birdhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, you wouldn't even use it to sit up there and put firewood into your wood burn stove. That's the type of wood they sent me. And I didn't fret. I did not argue. They even sent me plumbing supplies. I told them exactly what I was looking for, and they sent me everything but what I asked for. And I didn't argue with them, talking about over $1,000 worth of stuff. And I just kept my mouth shut and worked with what they gave me because it's too far away, and I didn't have the vehicle to return all that junk. Ladies and gentlemen, I let it go, and I stayed away from that stove for months. That was October. I didn't go back there until January last week. When I went back, I called the manager and I said, hey, you've been so nice to me. Look, I don't want no problems. I just want to get this order taken care of, and I don't want to go through what I went through the last time. Is that okay? You know what? I would love to come down and help you, but I'm in the middle of helping other customers. I tell you what, I'm going to find somebody to come and help you to make sure you don't go through no problems. And there was an Amber Alert. The young lady's name is Amber. Y'all don't know the place, so I ain't putting Amber out in no middle of no street, but Amber said, sir, I will help you. Amber, ladies and gentlemen, was a supervisor. It wasn't even her department, but she went over there, got behind that computer, and she worked out my order. Even though it was a new system and she was unfamiliar with it, she did it. And she stayed there and got everything straight and said, sir, everything is here. Do you want to pay now? I said, here you go, Amber. That's my credit card. I said, but I don't want to deal with Lady Diana, because that woman has treated me with so much disrespect every time I come in here. I don't want to deal with her. That woman has hung up on me on the phone, and Diana came over to help. And I said, Amber, that's exactly who I was just telling you I don't want to deal with. She says, sir, I will make sure that you don't have no problems. And Lady Diana was so respectful, and she was pretending, because you could see it in her face, that she was pretending to help. And they asked, sir, is there anything else? I said, no. Is there anything else you need from me? They said, no. I said, okay, I'm not doing very well right now. I gotta go. And I left. Only to call back the next day and say, look, I got some other things I'd like to add to my order that's going to be delivered. Oh, well, you can't do nothing until you pay the balance. Excuse me, what balance? Well, yeah, there's a balance of $1.82. I said, excuse me, where are you getting $1.82 for? It ain't about the $1.82, it's about the principle. I asked them if there was anything remaining the day before. They said no. I said, where's this $1.82 coming from? And she argued with me and yappity, and instead of telling me where the $1.82 was coming from. So I basically told her, look here, woman, I need to speak to your supervisor. I am a supervisor. Come to find out, she ain't no supervisor. Yeah, I got that directly from the corporate office today and from her manager later that day, that she wasn't a supervisor, but she said she was a supervisor. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, she eventually hung up on me when I asked her again to speak with her supervisor. I called back. Apparently the call she answered and hung up on me again. Ladies and gentlemen, I called back to regular customer service and spoke with a manager, her manager. He said he'd call me back. A couple hours later, he called me back. He apologized for her conduct, said, yeah, they've had problems with her in the past. You've had problems with her in the past? I'm thinking to myself, then why haven't you corrected this problem? If you know that she's a problem, why haven't you corrected the problem? Because she's been there longer than everybody else, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they haven't corrected the problem. And because they still didn't correct the problem with me, I was able to get my extra items ordered, which was another $100 worth of items that I needed, that I forgot to get. Because this project is me putting in my driveway and a couple other things that I need for my property. Cement, all of that stuff. And because I got hung up on again today, I wrote a letter to the executive office. I found the format for their emails, wrote everybody that I could, got all the names of the executive officers, and I wrote 35 different people. 22 of them no longer have the email address, but the rest of them did. My email finally got to the right person, and the executive office called me back. And the woman, I'm explaining this to you guys, and then I'm going to explain to you how we were able to accomplish this. The woman from the executive office said, "May I speak to blah, blah, blah?" I said, "Yes, this is he." She says, "The first thing I'd like to say is, I apologize for your experience. I read your email, and you should never have had to go through that." And she says, "That is not how we want to be represented to our customers." And I said, "Excuse me, let me interrupt you. I want you guys to understand this is the truth." I said, because of the way you have spoken to me, because of the way you've come across, because of your sincerity, this is what I expect to have gotten from the beginning. I said, I am not going to carry out what I said I was going to carry out in my email. She says, "Well, no, it doesn't matter, because I'm going to make sure that this gets taken care of, because we do not stand for this. This is not how we operate. And I'm going to be filing a report." And she just told me everything she was going to do to make sure that this does not happen to anyone else. Ladies and gentlemen, hands down, I'm a fan. And this was Home Depot that went out of their way to make sure that I was, but that I was acknowledged. They see me. See, before they weren't seeing me. They weren't even paying attention to me. Well, now I exist. That's all I want. You gonna recognize me. I do exist. I am somebody. I am special. And I'm important. And I like chocolate pie. Okay? And I need some help. Sorry. All of those comments are from the movie The Help. If you haven't seen The Help, ladies and gentlemen, get together as a family and watch The Help. I promise you, you will love chocolate pie for the rest of your life. You will love chocolate pie. Oh, God, you're going to be a baker of chocolate pie every day of your life. Your children are going to be wanting to make chocolate pie for all of their friends. I apologize. Now, let me tell you why the story I just told you was important. The chocolate pie story? No, not the chocolate pie story. Ladies and gentlemen, hold on, I gotta check something. Yeah, I just gotta check to make sure we're still recording. Ladies and gentlemen, the reason why the story I just told you about Home Depot is so important, because there were 4 companies that have been causing me some difficulties. And I want to let you know about the practicing what I preach. I told you we're putting together a company that's going to get some act right for people when they're dealing with these corporations and being ignored by these corporations, dealing with these judges and being ignored by these judges, dealing with these police officers and being ignored by these police officers, dealing with these child support agencies and being ignored by the child support agencies. You ask somebody to prove you owe something and they decide they don't want to prove it, you ain't got to go to nobody's court to make some judge enforce something where you got to file one paper after the other and pay all this money and hire attorneys and all that. You ain't got to go through all that. They're administrative remedies. And the 1099-C is an administrative remedy, and y'all have not looked at it that way, and we are looking at it that way. This is what I explained to Home Depot in an email. This is what I explained to the other 4 corporations. Look, I tried the nice way. I tried to ask you this, that, and the other, and I told them what the situation was. I said, but you ignored me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, because you're holding on to my property or because you did this with my property, I'm going to charge you every day this matter is not resolved, because you are denying me a due process right, and you don't have the right to deny me due process. So, because you're denying me due process and you are part of the executive branch of government, that means that you fall under the Administrative Procedures Act, and you are ignoring my right to file a grievance and to have that grievance resolved. And because you're doing that, I'm going to charge you each day you deny me the right of access to a remedy. And for each day, it's going to be reasonable. And for each day you hold on to my property, because in some instances, they have my monies that they took and they have not returned. Well, you are holding on to my property, so I'm going to charge you per day for the holding on to my monies. And then I'm going to charge you $1,000 per day for each violation of the Fair Debt Collections Practices Act. And I'm going to wait for, plus fees and assessments and penalties, and I'm going to wait for that amount to accumulate. In the case of the Sunbelt Rentals, who took $2,000 from my account without me giving them permission to take $2,000 out of my account, I'm going to charge you. And when we get up to $200,000, I'm going to send you a notification of debt and a bill. And I'm going to give you 30 days to pay. Now, you're not going to pay it. I know you're not going to pay it because you've not paid thus far. But that's okay, because I'm going to send you 1099-C. And I'm going to completely forgive you of your debt. And you won't have to worry about paying on that debt at all. And after that, you're going to receive the 1099-C-B form. Just talk to your tax agent, and they'll explain to you what you're going to need to do at that point. And you're going to be responsible for the taxes on that debt, which will be greater than what you will owe as of today. But either way, you'll be absolved of your debt with me. And whatever tax obligations you have after that, that's on you. And you'll just have to handle that the way you've handled this. Have a nice day. That's how I'm writing them. Have a nice day. Ladies and gentlemen, my documentation of the debt. And then I will fulfill what I promised. That's why I told Home Depot I'm not going to go through what I promised I was going to do. And ladies and gentlemen, let me explain to you about corporations. They live off of writing off their debt. That's what they live off of. But this debt, they won't be able to write off. See, they want to receive this tax credit because they can apply the tax credit to this, that, and the other. Ooh-wee. But when you do the 1099, that goes to the IRS. They receive a letter from the IRS saying that they owe this money. Now they're going to have to explain how they don't owe this money. And they get enough of those. There are investigations and audits, and they can't afford that. That's what I've been doing. I'm tired of playing games with everyone. I'm telling the court the same thing. Okay, let me see if I could explain this to some of you, because some of you are going to get it and some of you are not going to get it. 20 years ago, turned myself into the police because I did something that I should not have done. It was wrong. I spent 2.5 years in jail, plus another 10 months. Well, no, it was supposed to be 1 year. I spent an extra year and 10 months in jail. Why? Because I rejected their probation. So instead of doing probation, I rejected it. And I served a jail term instead, which covered the entire probation period. So instead of doing probation, I remained in jail. Was only supposed to remain in jail 24 more hours, but they decided to aggravate everything and keep me in jail for over a year. That's okay. When I got out, they pretended that I didn't reject probation. Now, because I did wrong, I let them play their little games. I said, I ain't on nobody's probation. But since y'all coercing me, I'm going to do it under duress. And I did. And then after 10 years, I said, that's it. I ain't playing y'all game no more. I've already served the time. I've already completed probation when I served the time in jail. Y'all need to leave me alone. So when I tell people that I could have gotten out anytime, that's not a joke. It's exactly that information that went to the appeals court here in California that let them know that y'all don't have any foundation to be holding me in nobody's jail. And I kept throwing that on the record, even sent them a certified copy of the court order showing that I went to jail in lieu of serving probation, where the court accepted my offer. Thus, they overturned the case on a result of that information, but they did not expunge anything. They just made it look like they were correcting a mistake, and that they did nothing wrong. Oh, no, you held me for 2.5 years. Well, not 2.5, 2.2. But either way, you held me for that long. Not only did you hold me for that long, but you caused me injury. You took my property. And then you took restitution twice? You destroyed my computer? Well, technically you say you destroyed the computer and you lost everything. Oh no, y'all gonna pay me and you gonna recognize. Well, the appeals court has made it appear that you can't represent yourself on appeal in the United States on a criminal matter, that only an attorney can do it. There's even case law that says that you don't have a right, that the right to appeal is not a constitutional right. It is what is the word for that? It's a statutory right. Ladies and gentlemen, the right to appeal comes from, pay attention, the First Amendment. Now, that's the first one. The First Amendment gives you the right to appeal because it's your right to petition for redress, the government for correcting of wrongs. That's all redress is an appeal. Petitioning government is an appeal. You're appealing, I appeal to Caesar. The right to appeal is fundamental in common law. That's why Paul could say it when he was on trial. I appeal to Caesar. To Caesar you have appealed, and to Caesar you will go. It was automatic. See, they claim they get their laws from the laws of Rome. Go back and look at how they gathered their laws. They claim it came from Rome and Britain. Ladies and gentlemen, the right to appeal is fundamental. It is a fundamental due process right. It is not a statutory right. Just that plain and that simple. I've given them proof that everybody and their grandfather has the right to appeal. And they ignored me. They ignored it. They ignored me. And I didn't ask them to ignore me. Look, if somebody could say blessed, and then they be like, anyway, if they could add that edd to words, instead of saying the words, and they be like, whatever the word is in ed at the end, as opposed to just saying, like them Beatitudes and all that stuff, then I could say they ignored me. Okay? It did. So leave me alone. Anyway, I'm letting the appeals court know, here, fools, y'all held me for 2.2 years. You've documented that you didn't have the right by overturning the case. So now you just documented you did me wrong. The prosecutor said they didn't have a case and they're not going to retry. Because if they had a case, they should have been retried. But they're not going to do it. Oops. You denied me the right to witnesses, and I point out all the things they did wrong. So here it is. Got an arbitration award. I got 3 arbitration awards against you, Got one for the custody class, where I represented the entire state prison population. Then I got, and including the women, then I got one for a house 4 houses y'all took. Y'all ain't had no right to be taking them houses from this one person, and I was helping this person. That's $600 million. The custody class, $600 million. And then I got the original one that comes from the original conviction. that y'all ain't supposed to be with. I said, we're looking at almost $2.4 billion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to Schedule C y'all. And then I'm going to 1099-C y'all. Schedule C and 1099-C. Pay attention. And then I'm going to let y'all worry about them taxes, because I'm going to send it to the IRS. This is California. You a state. You still pay taxes. Okay? So we're going to let y'all worry about the taxes. Y'all have a cloak and a smile. And it's going to be against your organization. And I'm writing that to the appeals court. Why? Because after I go to the appeals court, I'm going to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court's going to ignore me. That's fine. Then I go directly to the United States Supreme Court. That court, if it ignores me, then I don't have a problem, because I still get my dividends from the IRS. And if that's the case, then I sue the IRS. Now remember, the IRS is not government. They are not operating. Anytime any of these agencies operate outside of their capacity, they are not government. When the judges violate your rights, they are not government. That's why I'm promising the appeals court I'm filing a criminal complaint against them. What I'm saying about practicing what I preach, I told you we're starting a new company that's going to do exactly what I'm doing for other people. All you do is provide them proof of the conflict, the controversy. Look at the 7th Amendment. Ladies and gentlemen, you guys don't pay attention to the Constitution. Go back and read the 7th Amendment. Ladies and gentlemen, go back and read the 7th Amendment. It says according to the rules of common law, not according to the rules of some courts. Any suit where the controversy is $20. Okay, you don't have to go to the courts to get a common law 7th Amendment suit. You can do it administratively. I know. Don't it make so much sense now? Ladies and gentlemen, hold on. Let me see if I can find that for y'all. I got to put y'all on pause. Y'all just pause for a sec. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, pay attention to the 7th Amendment right here from Cornell Law. In suits at common law, where the value in controversy shall exceed $20, the right to a trial by jury shall be preserved, and no facts tried by jury shall be otherwise re-examined in any other court. Ladies and gentlemen, do you know that you can do an administrative lawsuit where the controversy is greater than $20, and that a trial by jury doesn't necessarily have to be in a court of law? That the parties can agree to have their matter determined by a group of individuals? Interesting. Isn't that what arbitration is all about? But this, what I'm referring to, has nothing to do with arbitration. They can have the right to be tried by a jury. They can demand that. They can go and file a lawsuit. But we're going to do what's known as the administrative process for a value of greater than $20, and we're going to operate under the rules of common law. Suits at common law. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, common law suits back in the day wasn't ran like these interesting courts of today. Sorry, let me get my music back because we're about to come to a close with this, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I assure you, for a fact, we have a lot of people, doing these courts where they call them common law courts, but this ain't that type of thing that we're referring to as a common law court. Sorry, what you hear me stretching is when the 9 officers attacked me for the second time, they almost broke my arm. And so now this is the first full season after that. And let's just say there is a lot of pain in that arm. Okay, as a result of a subsequent injury, I believe. But either way, I'm going to hold them responsible for that. I'm not even done getting their attention. Well, anyway, let's get back to this conversation, ladies and gentlemen. the organization will be doing 1099-Cs, common lawsuits. Really? You can really do a 1099-C common lawsuit? Ladies and gentlemen, that's exactly what a 1099-C is. You're bringing forth a claim that somebody owes you money, and then you're forgiving them of the debt. That's a common law right. How you know it's a common law right? Because the scripture says if you want God to forgive you, you must forgive your neighbor. Well, they created a process where if you want the government to forgive your debt, you have to forgive your neighbor their debt. So it's common law. And so what you're going to do is you're going to forgive them their debt and let them be responsible for the taxes and get your write-off. Okay? That's what the organization that we're putting together is going to do for you guys. So this video right here is to help you get a better understanding. Okay? They're going to be, look, to this day, I've been begging one of these so-called legal-minded wannabes, you know, those who claim that this man doesn't know what he's talking about. I've been begging them, daring them to prove me wrong. I ain't seen one of them speak up yet. Especially this thing about common law, I dare them to step up and prove me wrong. Oh, one more thing. Tonight, I was just looking at the time, 10:53. Ladies and gentlemen, I went to sleep at 6 o'clock. That's right, I ain't joking, 6 o'clock. And my phone rang, and it's hooked to the Bluetooth, and it was so loud it startled me. And Ohio Brothers, ladies and gentlemen, I said that I wasn't going to go past the Ohio Brothers, so we're going to stop it. Although I want to play another song, we're going to leave the Ohio Brothers because Want to Be Free. That song is my song. We're going to leave it with that, with this video. Well, anyway, when I woke up, I could have sworn it was 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was only 8. I'd only slept for 2 hours, but it felt like I slept for a lifetime. Oh, Lord. Ladies and gentlemen, I didn't answer the phone because I didn't know what time it was. And I'm like, who is calling me this late at night? It was only 8:30, 8:38 to be exact. I just had to go back to sleep because I was tired and still am tired, 10:53. That's why I'm mentioning this to y'all. Been going almost a full year now, nonstop. So I'm starting to take some breaks and starting to have my mandatory days off. Tomorrow, which is Wednesday, I have a meeting with SAA. After that meeting, I have a consult. After the consult, I have another meeting with SATCOM. After the meeting with SATCOM, I have my Kingdom Hall. I know that there's another meeting in between all of that tomorrow, but I'm trying to make sure you guys understand. Wednesday is the most busy day of the week that I have. And Thursday is just about as busy, and Monday is the third most busiest day of the week. I am trying to not get to the point of burnout. I have a lot of people complaining. Ladies and gentlemen, at SAA, we've had several people come down with COVID. Many of your emails have not been answered, but they're being answered now. And the reason being is because the people responsible for that have been out of commission for a month and a half. One person has had COVID twice. And we have one that's going through it now, and he's talking about all of the problems that it's causing him. I tried to warn people. Okay, I really did try to warn people. So, with that being the case, understand they're getting on their P's and Q's. Now, please understand, SAA has never conducted an arbitration, ever. Many of you all are thinking that they have. No, they've always assigned your arbitration to a private, independent arbitrator. Even then, well, it's not new. It's been established for, years. A1 Arbitration Services, might as well pay attention to the word. It's A1 Sales Arbitration Services. Started that some time ago because we knew that people were going to accuse arbitration associations of all kind of stuff. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said before, I'll say now. All right, we'll play one more song. Come on. People are trying to accuse arbitration associations of being invalid or being fraudulent and all this stuff. They can't. In order to prove fraud, there has to be a trial. Wait a minute. How come no song is coming on? Nope. Ain't gonna blue outfield. Yeah, we can play this. You know, this is heaven. I ain't played this in a long time. Not on the video. So we gonna play it. Okay? Might as well. Ladies and gentlemen, so that all of you know, in order for somebody to be accused of fraud in any of the courts, all the elements of fraud have to be proved. Even today, I added a couple of cases regarding the arbitration and how you want to accuse an arbitration association of fraud. You have to put proof of the fraud on the record. The proof cannot be a presumption. It cannot be an accusation. It has to be actual proof. There has been today, to this very date, no proof of any fraud by SAA or any of its members. But the court said this. I don't give a what the court said. The law says it's not the case. What you all, those of you who want to go by Google and by what some stupid judge said, and you heard me say it, some stupid judge said, it's your fault for not understanding that the law allows a judge, as long as he's performing what they call as a judicial function, to say whatever he wants, even if it's slander. He is immune. That's why they're saying the things they're saying, because by law they can say whatever they want to say. You feel me? And it's our job to check them. And that's what we're getting ready to do. That's why the criminal complaints. Those of you who've actually taken the time to do the judicial criminal complaints and the complaints against the banks, you don't realize how important the complaints against the banks are. So if you want help with your mortgage, if you've already been foreclosed on, go look at the videos on the criminal complaints and download the criminal complaint against the mortgage companies and file them, ladies and gentlemen. And in a couple of months, I'm going to ask those of you who've done it to send me a copy and proof that you mailed it out, and we're going to put together our complaint. Do you understand? We'll do an actual QTAM. Many of you have heard of QTAM lawsuits, and you've heard of the power of attorney general lawsuits. Well, what happened is the private attorney general lawsuits, most people are handling it wrong. You have to show that you are representing the interests of a large segment of the population. It has to be class action style. Well, you can't bring a class action criminal complaint. You can under QTAM. Again, ladies and gentlemen, most people are not understanding how this stuff is written. So we'll be going after that at one aspect, arbitration in another aspect, and we'll be going before the Supreme Court. Do you know how you get a matter heard before the Supreme Court? When you can demonstrate that it is a large segment of the population that is involved, which is exactly what we will be doing. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is so heavenly talking to you all today. And look at how much time we spent tonight when I wake up, 59 minutes and 48 seconds. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go before 1 hour. Y'all take care.